Stefon Diggs speechless after Cardi B's emotional Christmas surprise. The snow fell softly outside, wrapping the entire estate in a glowing white hush. Christmas lights shimmered along the towering windows, reflecting off the marble floors inside. Everything felt unreal, too perfect, too quiet, like the calm before something unforgettable. Stefon Diggs had just finished unwrapping what he thought was the last gift. A luxury watch. Immaculate. Thoughtful. Expensive. He smiled, pulled Cardi closer, and whispered that she'd already done too much. She didn't smile back. Instead, she stood up slowly. The music in the background faded. The crackling fireplace filled the silence. Cardi clasped her hands together, her long nails trembling. Her eyes glistened, and for the first time that night, Stefon sensed something deeper, something heavy. "Baby. I need you to listen," she said softly. Stefon straightened. His smile faded. Something in her voice told him this wasn't just another surprise. She took a breath. Then another. Her voice cracked. "This year almost broke me." Stefon's brows furrowed. He reached for her hand, but she gently pulled back, not to reject him, but because she needed to stand on her own for this moment. She began to speak. She talked about the nights she cried alone when the cameras were gone. The pressure. The judgments. The moments she felt misunderstood by the world, and even by herself. She admitted how hard it was to trust again. How love once scared her more than loneliness ever did. Stefon's throat tightened. Then she looked directly at him. "And then you walked in, not trying to save me, not trying to change me, just choosing me." Her tears fell freely now. She spoke about how he showed up when no one was watching. How he checked on her at 3 a.m. How he protected her peace without asking for praise. How he loved her kids like they were his own blood. How he never once tried to dim her fire, only shield it from the wind. Stefon's hands were shaking now. He tried to speak. Nothing came out. Cardi turned toward the massive Christmas tree. Beneath it sat one final box, simple, elegant, untouched. "This is not about money," she said, her voice trembling harder. "This is about forever." She opened the box. Inside was a custom-bound book. On the cover, "Our Story, Chapter 1. Stefon blinked rapidly. She flipped through the pages. Photos. Memories. Handwritten notes. Ticket stubs. Voice note transcriptions. Screenshots of late-night texts that read, "Did you eat?" and "I'm proud of you." Each page told a piece of them, the real them, away from the headlines. Then she turned to the last page. She reached into the box again. A ring. Not flashy. Not excessive. Perfect. She dropped to one knee. Stefon gasped, literally staggered back a step. "I don't need perfect," she sobbed. "I need you. I need us. I need the man who stood by me when it was easier to walk away." Her voice nearly broke apart. "Will you build a life with me? Not just the highlights, but the hard parts too." Stefon's knees buckled. He covered his face. The room went silent except for his breathing, ragged, overwhelmed, raw. He was completely speechless. Minutes felt like seconds. Seconds felt like hours. Finally, he dropped down in front of her, pulling her into his arms, crying openly. "Yes," he whispered. "Yes. 1,000 times yes." They held each other as the snow fell harder outside, the Christmas lights glowing brighter, the world unaware that something sacred had just happened behind closed doors. No cameras. No headlines. Just love. And in that moment, Stefon Diggs wasn't an athlete. Cardi B wasn't a superstar. They were just two people who survived the storm, and chose each other for Christmas. Stefon Diggs speechless after Cardi B's emotional Christmas surprise. Christmas morning arrived wrapped in silence, the kind that only happens before something life-changing. Snow dusted the windows of the private mountain lodge, twinkling lights hummed softly, and a fireplace crackled like it was keeping a secret. Stefon Diggs woke up thinking it would be another cozy holiday, warm cocoa, a slow morning, laughter, maybe a few thoughtful gifts. What he didn't know was that this Christmas had been orchestrated down to the heartbeat. Cardi B had been awake for hours. She moved quietly through the lodge, hands trembling not from the cold but from the weight of the moment she'd been carrying for weeks. Every detail mattered. Every second counted. This wasn't about diamonds or headlines. This was about truth, the kind that changes how you breathe. When Stefon finally came downstairs, hoodie pulled tight, sleepy smile on his face, he noticed it immediately. The tree wasn't just decorated, it was alive with memories. Ornaments etched with dates. Tiny photo frames dangling from branches. A single red ribbon wound through it all like a timeline of their journey. "Yo, what's all this?" he asked, half laughing. Cardi didn't answer. She stepped forward, eyes already glossy, holding a small velvet box, not black, not flashy, just deep forest green. Her voice shook when she spoke. "Before you open anything," she said softly, "I need you to hear me." Stefon's smile faded. He felt it, the shift in the air, the gravity of her tone. He nodded. "I've lived my life loud," Cardi continued. "The world knows my wins, my mistakes, my scars. But loving you, that changed how I see myself. You saw me when I was tired of being strong. You stayed when it was easier to walk away." Her voice cracked. Tears spilled freely now. "This Christmas, I wanted to give you something that don't fade. Something that don't break. Something that says I choose you, even when the lights are off." She handed him the box. Inside wasn't jewelry. It was a handwritten letter, folded carefully, edges worn. Like it had been read 100 times. Stefon opened it, scanning the first line, then froze. His hands started shaking. The letter wasn't short. It was raw. It talked about nights she cried alone. About fear. About trust. About how she never planned to fall this hard, and how she never wanted to stand back up if it meant losing him. Halfway through, something dropped from the fold of the page. A key. Stefon looked up, confused. "Our home," Cardi whispered. "Not a house. Our home. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere safe. Somewhere nobody gets to tell us who we gotta be." Stefon tried to speak. Nothing came out. His throat locked. His eyes welled up instantly, tears rolling down his face as he sank onto the couch, letter clutched to his chest. The room felt too small for what he was feeling. I don't know what to say," he finally managed, voice breaking. "Nobody ever did this for me." Cardi knelt in front of him, hands on his knees, crying right along with him. "I didn't do it for you," she said. "I did it with you." That's when the final surprise happened. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small, simple gold band, not flashy, not iced out. Just honest. "This ain't about pressure," she said through tears. "This ain't about the internet. This is me asking, are you walking into the future with me?" Stefon Diggs, one of the most composed, battle-tested men on the field, completely broke down. He covered his face. Sobbed. Shook his head like he couldn't believe this was real. Then he stood up, pulled Cardi into his arms, held her like the world had finally slowed down just for them. "I'm not speechless," he whispered into her hair. "I'm overwhelmed. I'm grateful. I'm home." Outside, snow kept falling. The fire kept burning. And Christmas morning became something neither of them would ever forget, not because of what was given, but because of what was finally said. No cameras. No audience. Just two hearts choosing each other, on Christmas.
도시가 보이곤 해. 그 도시에는 또 다른 내가 하늘에 떠가는 비행기를 올려다보고 있겠지. 난 하늘을 보고 또 다른 나는 아래를 쳐다보고 있겠지. 묘한 짜릿함 그 속에 머물다 보면 어느새 제주 행비행 신비한 세계로 나를 이끌고 거짓말처럼 하늘을 날며 어느새 제주 바다가 내게로 와 있네. 하늘을 보고 또 다른 나는 아래를 쳐다보고 있겠지. 묘한 짜릿함 그 속에 머물다 보면 어느새 제주 행비행 신비한 세계로 나를 이끌고 거짓말처럼 하늘을 날며 어느새 제주 바다가 내게로 와 있네. 난 구름 위를 날고 있어. 아래엔 간혹 도시가 보이곤 해. 그 도시에는 또 다른 내가 하늘에 떠가는 비행기를 올려다보고 있겠지. 난 하늘을 보고 또 다른 나는 아래를 쳐다보고 있겠지. 묘한 짜릿함 그 속에 머물다 보면 어느새 제주 행비행 신비한 세계로 나를 이끌고 거짓말처럼